Thank you for staying with us. And now we're going on to our next hot topic of the day. Single mothers cannot raise real men, according to Jim Iyke. So Nollywood star Jim Iyke has sparked heated debate with his recent comments about single motherhood. The actor declared that single mothers cannot raise boys into real men without the involvement of a male figure. He argued that women are simply not built to raise men on their own and insisted that every boy child needs a male influence. In his words, a woman cannot raise a man. You are not built for it. A single mother cannot raise a man properly. You need a male influence, a brother, a father, or any trusted man. These statements, as I trust our Nigerians, has come with a lot of divided opinions. You know, some people agree with him, they say he's speaking the truth, but many others think that, you know, what he's saying is not true. Some of those that agree with him are saying that, you know, that without fathers or strong male mentors, many boys are lost to crime, drugs, and indiscipline. But so many people have also argued on the side that many boys are raised by single mothers and they're doing just well. So that's what we'll be discussing. And remember, you can join this conversation by calling us on 0201 635 2013 and 090 241 63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewOnTVC and stream live on YouTube at TVC Entertainment. Ladies, I don't know who to start this conversation with. I can feel the fire, but when you heard this, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with him.
Okay.
Totally. I believe that, you know, because I'm a mother of a girl and a boy, I believe that single mothers might not necessarily raise boys who will be failing to crime and all of that, but they might not raise boys who know how to be in their full masculinity. And masculinity does not mean that you're domineering and ordering. The problem is that most of the boys who are products of single mothers, whose fathers were not fully present, or whose fathers too were such products, you will see them, they'll be failing socially in owning their masculinity, except they think it is for strength alone. They will not fully see it as a full provision of support, provision, defense, and care for, you know, the weaker vessel, so-called. And it's full many there. Whenever I'm frustrated with my son, I'm just screaming, just raising my voice. I think that's what will teach him. But just the presence of his dad, just seated, watching him. If you see the way this boy is doing people pleasing, you know, so there's a huge gap between that. And whether we like it or not, if we don't want to do sentiment, we would admit it, that we are nurturers, we are lovers, but the firmness is that of a man. And so I agree with him. But most single mothers who have successfully raised children, boys, had to fall back on a particular person, or within family or outside family, who fits well into the role of a model that the child can emulate, who they must rely on, either their brothers, somebody who they must rely on. But to do it all by yourself, something must lack. And that's the truth. There's no gainsaying, there's no point stressing it. Something must lack, because you can only give that side of you, and then that part of you could not give. That's why there are two parents to every child. Would lack.
Yeah. Abigail. Okay, Ramson.
Okay, so I totally agree with him, partially, because most single mothers, it's not their fault that they are single mothers. And what if they don't have any role model around them? What do you now want them to do? You understand? But I remember there was a time, my son, you know, once they are growing, as they are growing, they start becoming a bit, because they're used to seeing you all the time. You're always the one always talking to them. And so there's a little bit of, I won't call it disrespect, but there's that.
Call it what it is.
There's that little, they don't listen to you like that all the time. So I remember one day my son, you know, anytime he goes to the kitchen, he gets food, it was bread he went to get, and he did not close it. The dad just entered the kitchen. He just shouted his name. Only his name. You need to see the way my son ran. From the staircase, he jumped. Bah, 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 bah. Within minutes, he was in front. My husband told him, will you cover it? Next time, don't do this. And that never happened again.
Wow.
But you can imagine if it were to be me. Do you know how many times I've said that? Cover bread, do this, do that. When you finish eating, wash your plates and do you know how many times I've mentioned that? So at some point, I just know that, very importantly, there's a stage in a man's life that it's not even only for boys, for even the girls as well. Because there are stages in their life that they need that father figure, a man that will guide them, tell them about, and most especially about relationships and, you know, how to go on with life and how to choose the right partner. But then what he said is right. But I'm now thinking in the other side that, okay, what about people who are single mothers that don't have all those father figures and everything? There are so many of them. We've seen a lot of them.
Is it possible not to have father figures at all?
They went through a lot, but yeah, but there are some people that are not in good terms with their siblings, family members. I know of somebody who doesn't talk to anybody in her family. She doesn't talk to the brothers. She does not talk to any, and she's a single mom. So she's just all by herself. You know, she's just waiting for somebody that will come and like her. And then that person that will come and like her, you know, before she will now, you know, build trust and then start accepting in their space. You know, it takes time. So those kind of people, they truly, truly exist. But then they will go through that stuff. A mother will do what she can. She will go through that stuff. There are times that a mother will put on that masculine energy to make sure that the child goes the right way. You know, when it's time for all of those things, I think mothers are multitaskers. They know when to switch and when not to switch. But there are a lot of kids who have grown with single mothers and they are doing so well. Especially, you know, I don't want to call names, but let's say like Jay-Z. He always talks about the fact that his mother took care of him and made sure that, you know, he turned out, and well, look at him today. He must have gone through a whole lot growing up. Yes, he did all of those stuff, but today, look at where he is today.
So Abigail is breathing like this.
I'm listening.
Yes, Abigail, please.
So I feel that most of the time, some of these conversations lack emotional intelligence.
Wow.
And most of the time, you see people who come to say stuff like this in umbrella form. They come from a place of hurt and trauma. I'm not saying he is coming from the place of hurt and trauma. We know it's a no-brainer to think that one parenting is the best. The family system is built for both mother and father. We can't dispute the fact. But raising a child most of the time, it depends on the home. I always say it depends on the home. What is the spice in your home? What are your kids growing up to see? You see that we've seen mothers who have raised empathetic men who are homely, who understand what it means to adore their wives and to be present in their families. If you go and conduct some sort of data, you see that most of those men were raised by their mothers. Now, I am not disputing the fact that when it comes to the physical aspect, you need a man, because it comes to the point where the guy is experiencing puberty, he's experiencing peer pressure, he's saying things that he will need a man who has experienced it to teach him or to share experiences. And the man who is present in the family would have experienced, or maybe among his friends, they would have said, okay, this was what I experienced, your age, and this was how. We agree. That physical aspect. You must, and there's, like you asked, is it possible for anybody to be without a father figure? Sometimes it's possible, the littlest of them, but sometimes those men are readily available or around to take care of these guys. So there are lessons everywhere for me. I'm not saying the child must grow up with just the mother or father, but it doesn't mean that it's an umbrella saying that the child won't turn out right because it's a woman, because there are lessons everywhere. Now, in cases where the woman did not choose, it just happened, maybe death, or you're somewhere, you just have to raise your child yourself. There are lessons everywhere. Now, we're in a global world and a civilized world where you have lessons from when your child is growing. You're already pointing, see that guy, he was an armed robber, this was what happened to him. See this guy, he impregnated a woman, and right now, look at where his life. There are lessons everywhere. And most of the time, training is not just by bing, 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 I will blow you out, okay, at the end of the day. Is how you raise them, the morals, the values you place in them. Do you know that there are women that are even more feared than their husbands? That's when mommy is coming, it's mommy that pounds me at my back, mommy that hits me. This. So it shouldn't be an umbrella statement.
Yeah.
Because it now makes the woman who did not become a single mother by choice to start feeling like they're out of the place and out of a sphere in the society.
I didn't see it that way, actually. I thought that it was him just saying, if you were to choose, given the ideal situation, this is what would work best. That's how I saw it. But, you know, a lot of people had opinions, and we'll be looking into that when we get back from the commercial break.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thank you for staying with us. Remember, you can call us on 2016. You can call us on 020-1635-2013, 090-241-63440 to join the conversation, and you can tweet at TVC Connect. Nima, just before we went on the short break, you know, we're talking, I heard Abigail's side of the conversation, which makes sense, because it seems this conversation may not have been thought out because of how it will make women feel. But personally, I don't think that women should think that way, that this is a slight on them or is calling them out. It's just maybe saying, I also understand the pain is taking you to do the job of both the father and the mother. But if you can, while you're raising, try and look for a good mentor for your child. Try and find a good father figure. What do you think?
So I totally agree with Abigail, but I also think that Jim Iyke was only asking women to, you know, be vulnerable.
Okay.
Sure. You might be in a situation where you have to do this all by yourself. You know, it's okay to admit where you need support. To know is even, to to know your problem is, you know, the first solution to that problem. You're dealing as a parent. I knew early, while raising my son, that I have overloved that boy. Because I'm not the same mother to my daughter that I am to my son. I think I was overcompensating for having to leave him early to Yolu, who is his mother, and I had to learn the pattern of loving she was raising him with, which was over-giving. Unlike me, I was a firm mom to my daughter because I was there. And so I know. And it doesn't mean that, you know, because I've opened that vulnerability that I should, you know, just walking to my husband and saying, I need you to take over on this particular boy. It's part of parenting. All of us who are, you know, joint parents, we have partners, we admit at some point, because I know the most studied topic in my life, aside my religion, is parenting. Yeah. I'm most afraid at failing at it. So I'm constantly studying and praying about it. And I don't think there's anything wrong, you know, thinking as a single mom that there are men in my life I would not allow them be role model to my children, but there are also men in my life I'm looking up to them and saying, this person should be talking to my son.
Yes.
This person should be in my son's space. Even when they are too busy, I'm pushing the boy right back at them, because I want a wholesome individual. I want healthy masculinity when my son is grown. I want to see boys who have the balance. My father was a very emotionally intelligent man, but guess what? In that polygamy, he was raised by his mom. So, and he was very sympathetic towards girl children, women, because of what his mother went through in polygamy. We were so well protected because of his past. But, you know, there are other areas to life. There are other areas, that firmness. I wish my father sometimes would have stood up to his sisters and said, no, you can't get away with this. It took us years to see him start standing up and say, no, not because they know how to cry. And, you know, they're not always telling the right story.
Yes.
And so all of those things, you want a boy who at least in his 20s can already do that as a mother. And there's nothing wrong in admitting it. So what Jim Iyke, I heard him say, was saying to mothers that when something is not lacking, look out for a support system. Admit that you need it. Do not be ashamed of it, because your situation might not be your doing, but the outcome might then be your doing, or your inaction might then be your doing.
So some people will say, see, whenever this conversation come up about, we only talk about the single mother. The single mother's shortcomings. The single mother needs help. Where are the fathers? You know,
the single fathers.
Yes, there's a father to that person. Are there single fathers?
Yeah, there are.
They are married. They are remarried.
There's a lot. There's one.
They're not single anymore if they are remarried.
There's a single father I know. Anyway, he's online. I always see him with his daughter. She sings all these songs. They are very, very close. He does everything for her. He takes her to school. He talks to her like every, you know, like the way a mother will talk to her own daughter. That's how he talks to her. And So even the conversation of the fact that there are some things that you teach the child, puberty and all of that. There are some women that do it. They'll sit down and tell the boy, this is what's happening in your body, this is that and all of that. There are men, there are women that take in the roles of the men most times. So what I'm just trying to say is that if a woman finds herself as a single mother, she should not be pressured. She should not be pressured to trying to say, okay, there must be a father figure for this child and all, because that one too alone, it comes with a lot of stress for her. You understand? So
I just feel maybe the key word, that father figure, is where I have the problem, because it's not, this person can be experienced in morality. Okay. This man might not be experienced in other aspects as a man. We know some men who go out, drink drunk, some women who want their children to be associated with it. Okay, because that's the only man you have in your house, there has to be a father figure for your child, irrespective of the person's character. I was raised by a single father at an early age. And I can tell you, my father has one of the best trainings for his daughters. But the only aspect is the disciplinarian aspect of it, because he was a policeman. And so he will beat me like a man, you know, most of the time. So it's not always complete when it's one person, as I've said. But it doesn't mean that there are no women who grew up with men and have just known all it is. I have a friend who is an only girl child in her family, and they're all boys. She knows all the orientation. Exactly. Her brothers have taught her how to deal with men, what to do. So she knows almost everything that has to do. The only thing is that she doesn't experience or she doesn't feel how men feel, but she knows it. It doesn't mean that because this person is a single mom, she doesn't know it. Yes. And the boy or the son you're even training, those things that you can't raise or you can't teach, the child can learn from other friends. That's why I said, what are the morals or values you've instilled in this child? Once that moral is in place, the other things are secondary. I am not disputing the fact that children need both men and women. That's what I'm coming from.
Wow, ladies, thank you for a fantastic show today. And for me, this conversation, I just feel like we have just the surface that we have, we scratched, because I was going to talk about different parts of the modern times where women are going to have children without a father, because they believe that they can raise them. So I feel that these are conversations that we can discuss going further. But thank you for joining us on today's show. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye.